SFA this weekend. Great pitching performances pretty much every day, starting with the shutout from Deaton and followed that up with 7 strong innings from Aiden and then 7 strong innings from Brad Kincaid. I think on the weekend, 10 total hits given up, 2 runs, one of them unearned. I mean, what did you see from the team this weekend that was different? Because it looked like they were playing their best baseball overall.
Yeah, I thought we played well. Rhett Deaton continued to do what he's been doing all year long, giving us a good start, giving us a chance to win the baseball game. We executed well on offense when we had opportunities, whether we hit a ground ball to get a guy in, move a guy over. We executed fundamental baseball when we had to. And then, obviously Rhett did what he got us through the 7th inning, and then McLemore came in and kept the game right there. Big win on Friday night, and then after kind of seeing their lineup and seeing kind of how right-handed dominant they were, we had a feeling our right-handed pitchers would have we're going to be probably the people we had to lean on this weekend. Went with Aiden, and he's shown the ability to start for us, stretch innings out. Thought it'd be a good matchup for us. It was a good matchup. Offense did a good job getting, kind of stretching out the lead a little bit early in the game, not have every pitch be pressurized on Aiden. And then, after that, we're able to just finish the game after that. I thought Aiden kind of had to reach back a little bit in the 6th inning, but I thought the bullpen did a good job to keep the game right there. And then Brad Kincaid, he's shown that ability, all year long. I know he had a rough patch there, 2 or 3 games, kind of lost the strike zone. But if you go back and look, he started the midweek game against Houston. He started the midweek game against Louisiana Tech, and for the longest time he was probably our number 1 bullet out of the bullpen. Just kind of fell on some hard times a little bit. And, what he didn't surprise us, and I thought he did a great job, especially being able to get us through the 6th into the 7th. Probably got a little tired, but I thought when Will Dion came in, was able to keep the game right there. And then it was if you have a chance to sweep somebody, there's always going to be some tight, close games, and their pitcher was good. We were able to get him. In that 1 inning where Raz had the big swing, but all the at-bats up to that helped kind of set that up. And but all weekend played really good defense, all week. That kind of, it's amazing. That's one of those things that gets lost sometimes. When you're playing good defense, you don't even notice it if it's not good. But I thought the guys that have continued to do that, that was a good weekend by our guys.
This week you got Prairie View Wednesday, and then Texas A&M Corpus Christi. They're, I think, just below you in the standings. I just want to know, how tough is that Prairie View game going to be? Just because from a standings standpoint, from a meaning standpoint, it just, to be frank, it just doesn't mean as much as the games this weekend. How tough is that game going to be, and what's your approach as a head coach going to be?
I don't think it's going to be hard for our guys, really. Our guys really love to play. They love to play the game. We've got some guys that are chomping at the bit from a pitching standpoint. They want to get in there. We know a couple guys won't be available. We'll hold Aiden out of this game. We'll hold Dion out of this game. So it's going to be relying upon some other guys. And so we got some guys that are chomping at the bit, want to get back out there. And then, offensively, that's how you keep a rhythm, is to play the game. That's the way this game is meant to be played every day. And so we'll be excited to go. I think probably playing that game is more important than not playing that game. I think it's a little bit different story than next week with the short week going in and play HBU. But I think it'll be good for our team. I won't have any problems motivating this team. That won't be a problem.
With the success this past weekend from the pitching, from the starter standpoint, do you think that you found a 1-2-3 punch that you can roll with and see how it takes this weekend, or are you just playing the matchups like you said?
I think we'll still roll with Deaton, TBA, and I think the reason we'll do that more so, I think Aiden's so valuable at the back end of the game if you need him. And Aiden was warming up if we needed him for Friday night, and that's one of those things where you got to take it. Really, you don't know how the day's going to go. It could rain the next day, and if you're sitting there holding a guy to start, I think that's the way you don't have to. I don't think you approach it that way early in the year, but you know, by managing the arms and the you know the stress on guys, to me it allows you to manage it the way that manage your team a little bit differently later in the year. Aiden is so good. I mean, again, just he has so many. He can start. He can get you late in the ball game. You know, he can close the ball game out. I mean, you kind of saw a little bit of that, a little bit of both sides of him. You know, when I went to take that visit in the 6th inning, that was about, hey man, I know you're tired. You can kind of see it, but you saw the closer kind of reach back from a mentality standpoint, and he was able to get us out of that inning. But it's a little bit different feeling not knowing you don't have him if he does start. But I thought the guys did a good job. I thought Eckert did a good job. Brian King did a good job. Will Dion. They kind of gave us that luxury to be able to do that. We'll have to look at the matchup. We'll know a little bit more on Friday after Rhett goes. You know, are they better against left-handers, right-handers, somebody with a slider, a curveball? We'll just kind of read game to game, almost look at it like a tournament standpoint.
I know, I forget what it was you mentioned that in here that, you know, hey, we don't have to be perfect to make the tournament. But I feel like ever since you made that statement, it feels like the team has played, I don't know if it's looser, you know, it feels like they're playing better, but also they know they don't have that pressure to have to be perfect. Do you agree with that?
Well, if that was the truth, I should have said it a long time ago. But, you know, you never know how fast a team, you're going to figure out what your identity of the team is. From a coaching standpoint, you would love to have your identity from opening weekend on. And one of our players, we were in a meeting, one of our players said, we were kind of talking about some of the struggles on offense. And you know, maybe the worst thing to happen to us was to come out like so offensive those first 2 games, and it feels like maybe from an offensive standpoint we've been chasing, trying to be that team, you know, the whole time, and just realizing, okay, well, how can we win games? How can our offense be successful? And maybe we've been chasing that, you know, trying to do that. But again, from a coaching standpoint, you want them to form their identity and play in that as long as possible. But it doesn't always let you do that. The game doesn't let you do that. Sometimes it takes a little bit longer to figure out your identity, how this team wins baseball games, how to put guys in the best matchups. You know, and then, you know, there's this thing of patience where you have to have, where if something doesn't work out, you can't just bail on it either. For instance, I mean, if we'd have just bailed on Brad Kincaid, then he doesn't give us what he did yesterday. If you just you know, bail on you know, Zach Ryder, then he's given us some really good quality innings. And same thing. I mean, he had a bad day against Southeastern last week. Doesn't mean he's out. You know, I mean, and they know that. I think they know that with me. And you go in, put in the work, and you show back up to work, and how you handle the adversity. You know, and just getting comfortable in that, getting comfortable in your own skin in this team, because you know, more and more the team is starting to really believe and understand that it's really not about the other team; it's about how well we play. And so it's one of those things you just want to keep playing. You know, you just want to keep playing, and we're going to have a tough matchup against us this weekend. Corpus is as talented as a team as you know, as there is in our league. And again, kind of going back to something we've continually said, not to beat a dead horse, but this league is deep. This league is very, very deep, and there's not a whole lot of difference between, you know, the top, the middle, and the bottom. And I think you saw that this weekend. I mean, Lamar has played well. They just kind of come up on the short end of a couple of tight ball games, and you know, they almost beat Southeastern 2 out of 3. You know, probably could have got them 3, just depending on how a couple of things went. But it's been a challenging league this year, for sure, and that's a credit to the coaches and the players in our league, and again, it's kind of shown throughout the non-conference schedule as well.
Over the season, we've seen different lineups, different leadoff hitters, and with now freshman Peyton Harden at that leadoff spot for what I think is the past 2 weeks or so. Have you found your leadoff guy? Because he seems to be getting on base a lot more efficiently at that leadoff spot.
Yeah, he likes that first pitch of the game. When he gets on, when he gets a hit, it's really good play. Yeah, I think probably more so like who's sitting leadoff and what spot. More of what we do probably is, because we have so many everyday guys that are left-handed hitters, is to try to look ahead. Does a team have a left-handed pitcher out of the bullpen or somebody that is really good against left-handers? We try to split up the hitters from having similar hitters back to back. You don't want somebody's pitched the same way back to back. So some of it's just a lineup construction decision. We've hit Maxwell, we've hit Raspberry, we've hit Harden, Fisbeck, all the boys. I think, and there, we actually looked at a couple other things, but when I think probably in an ideal situation, probably him or Fisbeck's probably hitting. They're going to hit 1-2 ideally, but it's a fluid situation, just depending on kind of what the other team and what they have.
With when it comes to like a team that has maybe struggling on maybe hitting, scoring runs, or a team struggling pitching and then the hitting is there, there can be times where maybe a team may be fractured. I'm not saying it's you guys, but I want to say, how do you feel your team has been when there may be one side struggling and the other side kind of performing well? How do you feel your team has been as far as staying together this season?
Well, they're human. I can tell you for sure. It's not perfect over there. When we were scoring a bunch of runs and not winning as many games we should, I know that the position guys were mad at the pitchers, but that's just the way it works. Then the pitchers come around, the offense goes away, and that's just the way it is. That's just life, and it doesn't matter how many times you can tell them, hey, we're going to be fine. Like the pitching staff, and again, so much of it is figuring out who to put in where, what's the role, what's better, sticking with guys when things aren't necessarily going their way. Again, you're talking about all this stuff in a competitive environment. We're not talking about inter squads or somebody just walking guys. We're talking about somebody else trying to beat you, And so you got so many different things, and you got to work through the ugly, and you have to embrace it. I think you can't protect them from all those things. I think those are genuine, real emotions. I think our guys know that they can be genuine and honest, and just walking the truth over there. And some feathers sometimes get ruffled, but hey, that's all right. That's all right. We're going to operate in the truth over there. And I think Joe Madden said it best when he talked about it. He said, if I tell the guy the truth, he may be mad at me for a day, but if I tell him a lie, he'll hate me the rest of his life. And so the truth is the hardest thing to do. And but I think those emotions are genuine. They all come from a good place. I don't think that's had never been an issue with our guys. But just being able to deal with those things, and it's starting to come around where maybe we're starting to find our team.
With 5 straight conference wins now, and just only 2 weeks left of baseball until postseason, are we seeing this team's best baseball right now? Do you feel, or do you feel like we can still get even better than what we are right now?
I think we can get better. I really do. Again, you're talking about playing at the upper ends of your capabilities. We obviously had a really good week from a pitching staff standpoint. Same thing defensively. We can swing the bats better. And I think some other guys can actually pitch better and doing those things. And innings could be a little bit cleaner. I think it's all there. But the thing is, it doesn't matter. The whole thing is, at the end of the day, is did you score more runs than the other team? And it's really one day at a time. It's really, when you go to the ballpark, it says nothing to nothing. I've got to be good today. And that's the great thing and most challenging thing about our game. It doesn't, and all the games for us have been relatively tight for the majority of the year. So we understand that. So the guys have handled that pretty well. And but I'm not going to put a ceiling on this team on what they can do.
Good.